Hello, my Bill 5000 Nation. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. If not, I hope it gets better from here. We are back with another That Chapter. This one here was actually suggested by a subscriber, and I'm excited. We've had a lot of suggestions for that chapter. If I haven't got to them yet, I promise they are in the works. They are on the way. I've just had quite a few. I'm trying to get them as in the order. I'm trying. I promise. All right, just bear with me. I slow. I very slow. All right. I'm excited for this one. I love updates. I like to see where it was, where we at now, all that good stuff. Plus, it's from 2019. I might not have seen maybe any or very few of these videos, so we might be having some ideas on for, other videos to watch later on down the line, which I like that. So, props. Excuse me. Let's go ahead, get into today's story. Go ahead, turn the lights down low, put on something comfy called someone special. Let's get warm. Cold cases with updates. That means they become warm cases. So let's get warm. Don't look into the logic behind any of the things I say. It'll give you a headache. Yeah.
Hey you and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this here old video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a lot of unsolved cold cases.
Links to each of the full case videos in the description. Damn, bruh. He read my mind. I love that. He's like, Bill 1000's gonna want to react to some of these. I'm gonna go ahead and just do this. It was done especially for me.
That either have been solved in 2019 or have some interesting updates. Now, not all of the cases we have talked about on that chapter have updates, sadly. There are a lot of cases we've talked about that remain unsolved. To this day, how many years later? And some of the ones we
That's
also
awful.
talked about that we thought may have had leads going somewhere.
And that's the horrible thing about it. Like, has anyone ever watched Cold Case like the on A&E or History? I don't. It's one of those channels. Like I've seen them work on something for like sorry, choked on my own spit. I've seen them work on something for like 20 years and then it gets put into the cold case and then something happens, someone pulls it out or they go through like a case rotation or whatever the case may be, but it gets refreshed and like they'll get a lead and follow it for like a month and then it's been so long it just goes dead and becomes cold case again. It's crazy. Oh, sorry. And it's even like you think you have all the evidence, but there's just something that's just not tying it all together. No, I hate it because I like forever to think that everyone deserves closure because everyone does deserve closure. But it's crazy to think that we can't figure out this crime. We've exhausted all options. It becomes a cold case. Oh, we got maybe an inkling. Let's pull it back out, or it's a case, whatever the case may be. Let's pull it back out. Play around with it. You think you're going to make leadway, and then you might actually make leadway. You might solve the case, but then again, you might not. And it sucks so bad to know that some poor family, someone out there is never going to get the closure they deserve. But it's just intriguing to think like, ooh, 20 years down the line, you can still get a clue that might potentially help you solve something. That's cool. That part is the cool part. It took a long way down.
To some kind of resolution ended up going nowhere. But we'll talk about it. So, let's.
Let's do, sir. Let's do. Let's rap about unsolved cases with updates.
So, first of all, let's talk about Jamie Kloss. I made two videos about her. One about her abduction and the other about her rescue when she rescued herself.
No, I don't want to take her out with
Douglas County 911.
Hi. I have a young lady at my house right now, and she says her name is Jamie Kloss.
She's doing pretty well after being held captive for 88 days in 2018. Jesus, that's a long time. She released a statement saying she was getting back into the activities she enjoyed and is working hard on healing.
What?
Last October, Jake Patterson took a lot of things that I love away from me. It makes me the most sad that he took away my mom.
Holy shit, sentencing for a man who kidnapped teen and killed her parents? Chris Graham Strupp, attorney, reading statement on behalf of Jamie Kloss. Oh man, she was so traumatized and fucked up from everything. She couldn't even go to the... God, poor girl. We're gonna have to watch that.
Mom and my dad. I felt safe in my home, and I loved my room and all of my belongings. He took all of that too. I don't want to even see my home or my stuff because of the memory of that night. But there are some things that Jake Patterson can never take from me. He can't take my freedom. He thought that he could own me, but he was wrong.
Yeah.
I was smarter. I watched his routine and I took back my freedom. I will always have my freedom and he will not.
Bro, we gotta watch
She was only
that
13 years old when this happened, and that's unbelievably horrific what she went to. So I'm glad to hear she's doing alright. The piece of shit who kidnapped her and
I mean, probably not doing alright per se, but doing the best she can. Oh my god, that poor girl. We gotta watch that. I know nothing. I know nothing. I know nothing. I know stupid stuff. I can't say I know. I know stupid stuff.
murdered her parents in front of her was given 2 consecutive life sentences with no
Good.
parole, and 40 years
Piece
on
of
top of that,
shit.
the cherry on the top for kidnapping. It was an impulse crime, not planned. He didn't know the family at all, just saw Jamie one day. He pled guilty because he wanted to spare Jamie Kloss and her family the trauma of a trial. So he pled guilty because he didn't want to bring Jamie.
He should have fucking not kidnapped her and killed her parents. That would have really saved her the hassle of the trial. I mean, should have thought about that a long fucking time ago, buddy.
Jamie back into court, having to relive the trauma of witnessing her parents getting murdered in front of her, and then being held captive for 88 days. If only he had that kind of compassion before he did what he did, he could have saved everybody a lot of trouble. But he's gonna rot in prison for the rest of his life, so... Good. The murders of Liberty German and Abigail Williams still...
We've seen updates on this one. If he hasn't updated since 2019, he needs to. He needs to make another update video with it. He does. Go to his channel, subscribe to it, hit a thumbs up, leave a comment, and say, "Hey, Mikey boy, buddy, old pal, old friend of mine, could you do me a favor? Let's get another update." You know what I mean?
sadly remain unsolved. An updated sketch of the suspected killer has been released. Also a video, but it just shows an extra few
And the reason why I say subscribe and leave him a thumbs up, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm just saying, if we do that, we can butter him up. And if we butter him up, we might get what we want.
frames more than the already released image. So not a whole lot of new information in this unsolved.
I still, I know I've said this 1,000 times. It reminds me of an older generation fella. The way he words his words. Don't look into that. That makes perfect sense. The way he words his words sounds like an older generation of people. Like, I was raised up by my great grandparents for the longest time. I talk like them sometimes. I say things and people look at me, they're like, "What the fuck did you just say?" I'm like, "Oh, sorry. I forget. I'm like 102 compared." I was raised by old people. It is what it is. But the way I just I can't wait till the trial begins to know if they actually got the right person. And I know I'm not saying they didn't. I'm not saying they did. I don't know. We're not. No one really knows for sure, except for the person who did it and the 2 young poor lives that was taken. But I mean, they seem pretty damn confident that they do have the right person. I can't wait till the trial begins and we get to know more details. Like, we need to learn just how big of a piece of shit this dude really is. And if it is the right dude. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it isn't by any means. I'm Switzerland, baby. No, no. You ain't dragging me into some shit. I don't care. Ain't happening.
Case, but what this does tell us is that the police are very serious about continuing the investigation, finding the perpetrator of this atrocious crime. A reward for information leading to an arrest stands at $225,000.
Damn.
Now Maura Murray. The last we know about her is that she vanished after crashing her car in the middle of nowhere, New Hampshire. Toward the end of my video on her case, we talked about how her father believed her remains may have been buried in the basement of a house near where she was last seen. In April 2019, that basement was dug up and they found nothing. Extremely disappointing for the family. Dogs seem to have been onto something.
I love his comedic timing. He was sure she was buried into this bit, and they get there, and guess what they found? Nothing. I always expected like bodies for days. He's just like nothing. Oh, bitch. Oh, God. It's the little things in life, people. It's the little things in life. Don't judge me.
Something in that basement. The radar seemed to indicate there was something there, but diddly squat.
Investigators from the New Hampshire State Police and the FBI searched a home in Woodsville, New Hampshire. They were looking for evidence connected to the missing persons case of Maura Murray. I can tell you that no evidence was found in connection with that case.
Still don't know what happened to Maura Murray. She just vanished. Either somebody got her, she wanted to start a new life, and she did, or she just wandered off into the wilderness and died there. Xavier Dupont, you son of a bitch. There was a lot of hubbub about him recently. It was thought he had finally been arrested in Glasgow airport, 8 years after killing his family and disappearing, going on the run as a secret agent. The flight was from Paris, and a man was held in police custody in connection with a European arrest warrant issued by the French authorities. Police in Scotland were tipped off by the French, who thought they saw him at the airport. And when this guy's fingerprints were taken, they matched Xavier's. But it turned out to be a case of mistaken identity after a DNA test came back negative. So who knows if Xavier Dupont de Ligonnès is still out there on the run, dead? Or maybe he is a secret agent, who knows?
I gotta watch that one too. That sounds amazing.
Jerica Binks was a woman who disappeared while running in Utah in 2018. After extensive searches, nothing about her was, ever found. Until it was. She wasn't kidnapped, she wasn't attacked by a mountain lion, she just fell. In April 2019, a hiker came across skeletal remains in a ravine near her last known location, surrounded by her personal items. There were serious breaks in both bones in her lower leg. It seems that she, while jogging, went off the trail and fell, breaking her leg and perishing there. The place she was found, well, it's kind of understandable why she was never found. It was located halfway up a steep ravine, away from any trails or man-made structures. The person who found her even said he'd explored the area for years and had never been there. So the case of Jerica Binks turned out to be just a pure accident.
Damn.
The case of Valerie Reyes was an interesting one because literally as I published the video, the suspected killer was found. But I got a bit more. Valerie was found bound and inside a suitcase on the side of a road in Greenwich. She had passed from a lack of oxygen. It was her ex-boyfriend who did it, one Javier da Silva from Venezuela.
Well, ain't he just a pretty man? I can do that. Oh.
When he was arrested, he said, get this, that Valerie fell to the floor and hit her head, and that's when he placed packing tape over her mouth, bound her legs and hands, and stuffed her body into a suitcase. As you do. Javier da Silva was charged with 1 count of
I mean, that's just a fucking Wednesday. Bruh.
kidnapping, resulting in death. If convicted, he faces death or life in prison.
Both.
We'll just have to wait and see what he gets. Attorneys are working on a possible plea deal. The Bear Brook murders have been solved, kind of. We know the person behind it was Terry Rasmussen.
Solved. Kind of.
Robert Evans, whatever name he enjoyed going by. But what we don't know is who the bodies in the barrels actually were. They remained unidentified until they were identified. Over the summer, 3 of them were given names. Marilise Elizabeth Honeychurch and her 2 daughters, Marie Elizabeth Vaughn and Sarah Lynn McWaters. The 4th victim found in the barrels, who is Terry Rasmussen's daughter, has still not been identified. Marilise Elizabeth Honeychurch was dating Terry at the time of her disappearance. Her and her 2 daughters were last seen at a family Thanksgiving dinner in 1978 in California. Apparently, they stormed out of the house after an argument. How they ended up in Bear Brook from California, that remains unknown, but there's so much about the Bear Brook story that is gone to the grave with the people who knew what happened.
That's all.
So the Israel Keys story is over. His last victim was himself. But there's one interesting tidbit I found. Maureen Callahan, who wrote a book about Israel, theorized that he may have essentially been biohacking his own body to become a supervillain before he was caught. She gained access to his diary, in which he wrote, on May 12, 2006, traveled to surgery for an unspecified procedure in one of his journal entries. Nearly a year later, on April 24, 2007, he wrote in his journal, traveled to SD for dental work and medical lap band fill. She thought it was weird he was getting gastric bypass, as he was a skinny fella anyway. Maureen theorized that he did it so he could gain time while killing, without the pesky distraction of hunger, along with plastic surgery to change his appearance. Interesting.
Costing the taxpayers a lot of money.
In the
Is that fucking stupid or is that fucking genius? I don't know. Sir, again, we need for our records, why exactly are you wanting this procedure done medically wise? Well, one day I might grow up and want to be a deranged serial killer. You know, I ain't gonna have time to run from the police and stop and find me a local diner that's got amazing food. One of those are gonna have to be cut from the equation, and I don't think the police are going to just not do their job.
case of Holly Bobo, Zach Adams, one of the alleged killers, is still appealing his conviction, so nothing really new in that case. But one thing I want to bring up is a video sent to me by Angela Chapman. Thank you. So this video, Mysterious Scream, Natchez Trace, Tennessee, was filmed in, Natchez Trace. This was filmed in 2011, he says in the description, which could have been around the same time she was taken, and it's not far from where she was abducted. Probably a wild animal.
I heard words. I'm serious. I heard words. Hold on.
Probably a wild.
Too far, too far. That's way too far. What the hell am I doing? The hell am I doing? Amazing case. Yeah, they're at the end. I'm pretty sure you hear somebody help. Like, yeah, you hear somebody like that. That was a person. I've I have not heard every animal in the world scream, but I have lived in the country for the vast majority of my life, and I've heard a lot of shit in my day. That was words. I heard words. I heard like somebody help, help me please, and some other random screams that, I mean, it could have been an animal, but that sounded human. It sounded like real humany. Humany? Humane? Humanesque? Humanesque. I like that word. We're going with that one.
Probably a wild animal, though after listening to it for a while, there sounds something human to the screams. But who knows? I thought it was kind of interesting anyway that this guy's
Like I'm telling you, like you can hear like me, like okay, like whenever someone's like, "Will you listen to me, please?" Like that. It's like, "Will someone help me, please?" You hear that, like, and I know it's weird to say, but you can almost hear the fear and panic in it too. Like usually when you hear animal screams like that, you get the sense that it's something, but that felt like full of fear and just pain, awfulness.
hearing screams not far from where Holly probably was killed and in the same time frame. Just thought it was something interesting. The
Uh,
McStay family, the
oh.
entire family, were murdered.
What would you do in that situation though? Would you start hollering back like "I'll help you" and run towards the screams? I have a feeling I would be that dumbass and I would be dead too. I don't know how she died in the video. I mean, if it was a gunshot, then yeah, I've been fucked. If she was like beat to death or used, a knife was used, I might have a chance. But I mean, if she was shot by a gun, I'm probably fucked. But honestly, it sounded more like she was being like beaten or stabbed, or if she was shot, she wasn't like shot to kill. It was like shot to hurt and make her a lot. And what do you do in that situation? Do you run and help or do you run and hide? I don't know.
So says the jury, by Chase Merritt. He was found guilty and they recommended he be sentenced to death. His sentencing will take place in December.
We, the jury.
I like the death penalty and I hate the death penalty. I have a mixed relationship with the death penalty. I don't like it. I don't think, I understand someone took someone else's life, take their life, all that shit. But eye for an eye makes the world go blind, and all that shit. I get all that. I don't like it because it's done. It's over. There's no more suffering. You're just fucking dead. You're dead. No, I wanted. You did something fucked up. I want you to be in a place where there's the worst of the worst people. You are having. I want you to be begging for the death penalty and it never to come. That's what I want. I want whoever did the crime begging, crying in the corner for someone to end them, and the end just never come. Does that judge me as a person? I don't care. This is what I want. It's like wanting that certain Happy Meal toy when you go and get your kids' meal from McDonald's. You know what you want. Do you always get what you want? No. But when you do, you're like, oh, fuck yeah, bro.
jury in the above entitled action find the defendant, Charles Ray Merritt, guilty of the offense of murder in the first degree in violation of
Order in the court. One more outburst from you all, I might do it too.
You can hear right there some audible gasps going through the courtroom. Merritt's family was there as well. This was not what they wanted.
He could. No, bro, we heard. We fucking heard. Like, everyone heard. The judge was like, fuck.
To hear, but for the McStays, it's something they've been waiting for a long time. The prosecution was able to convince the jury that Charles Merritt was guilty without a reasonable doubt. Jurors debated over this for several days. The bodies of the McStay family, they vanished 9 years ago. 6 years later, we are finally starting to get some closure here. Charles.
So, Samuel Little, America's worst serial killer, and it sure darn seems like it. He was really going for gold there. He has confessed to 93 murders, and the FBI are pretty sure he ain't spoofing. And he was even kind enough to draw pictures of his victims, and was dying to tell investigators all about his killing. Let's take a look.
And she was about 5, she was about tall, she was tall for a woman, about 5'8", 5'9", and it's beautiful shape, and she's friendly. I grabbed her by the legs and pulled her to the water. That's the only one that I ever killed by drowning.
Loved traveling and killing this guy. And
Man, it started off as a romance novel. Like, yeah, she's too tough for a woman, but damn, she got that body, make it go shot, bam. And he's like, and then it cuts to, so I was dragging her by the legs to the water to drown her. Like that's a love story no one wants to read right there. Good God.
quite the artiste. Why do I
Wow.
have the feeling those pictures are going to end up on eBay someday?
They probably already are, bud. Probably already are. They was like he caught the. I mean,
And quite the artiste.
I mean, you can see he's pretty good. He should have went into a whole other career instead of like the murder he got.
Why do I have the feeling those pictures are going to end up on eBay someday? The infamous Dyatlov Pass incident. The Russians recently reopened an investigation into what happened, which is pretty interesting. To date, still no one knows why those hikers ran out of their tents in the middle of the night on the side of a mountain wearing fuck all. There have been countless theories, some more plausible than others. The investigation is still ongoing, so it'll be interesting if they get to the bottom of it. Now we move on to Cam MacLeod and Briar Schmigelski, killers of Lucas Fowler, China Deese, and Leonard Dyke. They went on the run and were last reported to be in the Gillam, Manitoba area, hiding out in the woods. On the 2nd of August 2019, a local reported to the police that he had seen a blue sleeping bag at the edge of the Nelson River, near where it enters Hudson Bay. Searching the area, the RCMP found a damaged rowboat, and they also found items belonging to the two lads. Then, a few days later, the two bodies were found in a brush area about a kilometre away from the boat. It seems they'd killed themselves via gunshot. Cam shot Briar before turning the gun on himself. They were on a suicide mission, and it seems to have ended that way.
Damn.
No indication that these were planned or predicted.
Digital camera to record 6 chilling videos. In the first video, they take responsibility for all of the killings. They also talk about plans to march to Hudson's Bay, hijack a boat, and then travel to either Europe or Africa. In another, they talk about how they want to turn around and kill more people, how they expect to be dead themselves within a week. And in that final video, they talk about how cornered they feel and explain a suicide pact and their wishes to be cremated.
They were cold, they were remorseless, matter of fact. It is believed.
I have a question. It just randomly popped up in my brain. If, say that does happen, someone goes on a massive killing spree, and ends up killing themselves in the process, but leaves a video as like their last will and testament, do you have to honor that like a last will and testament? Like, like they just said, they asked for the bodies to be cremated. Do you have to do that? I mean, I imagine they would kill themselves going unless the family claimed and going to state's custody. A lot of times you just get cremated. But do you have to? Like, if there's like, we want to be like buried, not cremated. We want like, to be dressed properly, not in like prison attire or whatever we're in right now, or butt ass naked. We want like fresh clothes. Would you have to do that? I mean, I'm not being a smartass. I don't. I'm not. It's a stupid question. I know, and it's probably gonna get some stupid answers, and that's fine. I like stupid answers, but do you have to do that?
Believed that McLeod shot Schmagelski before shooting himself.
So that's really the end of that. We will never know, I guess, why they did what they did. Though who knows why killers do what they do. Because they suck, that's why.
And they're pussies.
And finally, we're going to talk briefly about the abduction of Jodi Huisentruit, which I just covered the other week. John Van Cise has been a key suspect, but it seems the main person of interest in the disappearance of Jodi Huisentruit will likely not return to Iowa. About a year ago, John Van Cise was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and his memory has severely deteriorated. Apparently, the decline is 12 times that of what is normal. So whether or not John knows more about what happened to Jodi than he ever said, honestly, it looks like we may never know. He probably doesn't even remember Jodi himself. And there goes a key suspect. In the video I made about Jodi, talked about how there were search warrants for his cars, but it seems like nothing more is going to come of that. Now, that's all the cases I really have updates on, unfortunately. I was really hoping for more cases, like an update on the Dior Kunz case. Over the summer, authorities said they were onto something, but it seems like nothing. The cases of Natalie Holloway, Amy Lynn Bradley, Emma Philippoff, Lauren Spear, Missy Bevers, Lars Matank, Trevor Deely, Amber Tuckero, Lisk, Zeb Quinn, and so many others remain unsolved, sadly. If more updates come out about these unsolved cases, I'll make another update video. But for now, that's all we really have. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. If you'd like to watch some more of my videos, please work away, and I will see you.
Wow. Thank you so much for the suggestion. I have so many videos I have got to watch now. That's some craziness. I really enjoyed today's video. Like I said, I don't think I've seen any of those. Not gonna lie. I might have. I might not be remembering them correctly, but I don't think I've seen any. If I have, I haven't seen a lot. I mean, other than the Deafy ones. I've seen several of those from. I don't know if I've watched any with Mike or not, but so many more videos I need to watch. Thank you so much for the suggestion. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed today's video. If you guys really enjoyed today's video as much as I did, please go down there, leave a thumbs up. It really helps. And if you're a fan of the spooky, scary, strange, deranged things, and just make you rethink your whole life, think about subscribing. I rethink my life at least 3 to 4 times a day, except for that one time. It was like 5. That was a bad day, though. Alright, as always, be good to one another. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Man, just when you think you've seen, like, everything, it's like, nah, there's just so much more that I've got to watch now.